The Sega Genesis was home to many stellar arcade ports. Some of my favorites are Afterburner 2, Altered Beast, Strider, and Ghouls and Ghosts. However, there was one conversion in particular I anticipated with bated breath: Time Killers. I remember digging on the arcade chunky sprites, radical colors, and exaggerated bloodshed. This was my shit right here. Then we got this. Okay, what the hell happened? Seriously, that was my initial reaction in '97. I realized that not one of the aforementioned titles were arcade perfect, but they came pretty damn close. This is a travesty. It is the very definition of a lazy port. Just look at Mortal Kombat. Not an exact copy of the arcade original by any means, but at least they tried. That much is obvious. This is just... meh. Apparently, Time Killers was headed for Super Nintendo as well as Genesis in '94, though the big end pulled out shortly thereafter. Giggity. Later, the Genesis release was cancelled upon completion. Aside from its graphic nature, quote-unquote, it didn't test well with critics unfortunate enough to receive preview copies. Gee, I wonder why. If you haven't played Time Killers before, here's the story, as read by Jason Statham.
Throughout time, Death has attempted to overcome his nemesis, life, by sending dark agents to do his bidding. History's greatest warriors have continually defeated Death's agents, infuriating him. After centuries of plotting his ultimate revenge, Death has taken these heroic warriors from the entire span of humanity's past, present, and future, and pitted them in a ferocious battle which can have but a single victor. Each hero must defeat his challengers, with the final battle being with Death himself. If any of the heroes has the strength to defeat Death, they will become immortal.
Yeah, that was taken directly from the instruction manual, minus the accent. It's absurd, yes, but it has extreme cheese factor, you know? It makes no good goddamn sense, but it sounds cool, right? Back in the 90s, that's all we really cared about. Like every other fighting game, these characters have their own backstory, special moves, etc. Really, the only one I care about is Rancid. Of all the characters available, he's the only one that screams badass. The overgrown cockroach can suck Keith Richards' weathered cock for all I care. Before I rip into the presentation, I want to talk about the control. It's reminiscent of both Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2. With Time Killers, you have a button for each limb as well as your head. Yeah, that's weird, right? Instead of the traditional low, medium, high punch or kick, you press both limbs to deal a stronger blow. Nothing too crazy. To perform the death move, you gotta hit all 5 attack buttons at the same time. Unlike Mortal Kombat, where it's kind of a treat once you've defeated your opponent, the player can perform this move at any time. I am not kidding. If you're lucky, you can end a match with a single swipe of your blade or chainsaw or whatever. Next match, their limbs magically reappear. Maybe Death is like, "That's just awkward, let me fix that for you." With that being said, the death move can raise your blood pressure like nothing else. You can be kicking somebody's ass back to the future only for them to hit you once or twice, make you dizzy, and that's it, you're fucking dead. This has led to many fits of adolescent rage, let me tell you. One thing that tickles my cold black heart is losing one's arms. You can lose both arms during a match, but carry on with nothing more than your legs and head. The Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail springs to mind. I'm sure that was intentional, but regardless, it's cool. So after you've beaten everyone, including your other self, you fight Death. Since he's the final boss, he's the hardest to beat. During the first round, you can kill him as easily as any other character in the game, but you gotta take that fucker's head come the second. Otherwise, he regains a little bit of health and keeps fighting. If you should decide to play again once you've beaten the game, you'll now fight zombie versions of all your opponents. That's kinda cool. It would look way better if the sprites weren't so fucking small, though. I mean, really, it looks like a half-assed Master System port. I wasn't expecting arcade perfection by any means, but this is far below even Genesis standards. The backgrounds look like something I produced in Microsoft Paint while under the influence. If that's not bad enough, the music is awful. It sounds like a 16-bit heart attack coupled with a slot machine. Sound effects are hit and miss, pardon the pun. The chainsaw is okay, but the dull thud of headbutts and bodies slamming against the ground, it's a real letdown. Oh, but the highlight is definitely the digitized speech.
Time killer. Engage.
Sounds like a worn-out voice box in a chatty Cathy. To sum it all up, Time Killers, as far as the gameplay is concerned, is okay. It's easy to pick up and play, but the roster is somewhat generic and the graphics are vomit. I'd pass on this one unless you're an obsessive collector. The game has become a rarity of sorts, so I guess it has value there. Otherwise, it may as well be a bookend.